Welcome back to We Are Tottenham TV, the only place to be on match day. And what a match day is today. It is the Carabao Cup, and Tottenham have the tricky job of going to St James's Park against Newcastle. Jimbo and I are back. I'm joined obviously by him. Also the wonderful Dermatron from THFC Till We Die, and the amazing Harry Scarf from Scarfy Talk Spurs or Scarfy 2022 or something or another. Jimbo, first of all, how are you? How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks. Looking forward to the game. Looking forward to smacking these bastards.
Good. Nice to see you confident, Jimbo. Dermot, how are you getting on? How are you doing?
I am fine. It's always, I say always, but it's always a pleasure to be on here on this great channel with you two. And Jim, just say it how you mean it.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
Never change, Jim. Just never change. Just always be you.
Everybody's
who you are.
I've been watching some YouTube people saying that we're going to be lucky if we get anything out of the game. Bollocks, we're going to kick their
You
ass.
and me are like that, Jim. You and me are a few breed of being delusional and up there and up for every game.
Yeah,
we keep the flying. We keep the flag flying. Thanks a lot, Kate, for having me on, guys.
And then someone who's more down to earth and on my level is Harry. In other words, someone a little bit more sensible is Harry Scarf. Scarfy, how are you doing, my lovely?
I'm very good, thank you. Thank you very much for having me. Looking forward to getting into it. Should be a really tough game, but a good, I think, experience early on. Really tough test for Thomas Frank and the players. Hopefully, get through it. And to clear up any confusion, I made it easy at the start of the year regarding my channel. So the name's just under my name, Harry Scarf, to avoid any complications. Has my podcast within. That's called the Scarfy's Personal Podcast. But I thought I'd just keep it to my name because I had the issue with some people couldn't say it, some people couldn't spell it. So I totally feel your pain, and I did change it. So don't worry about that. You don't have to say anymore.
It's like us. We changed ours to Kate and Jimbo because we are Kate and Jimbo, you know, simple. But first of all, just let me say a big thank you to Jose, who held the fort for Jimbo and I whilst we were away from YouTube. So thank you very much, Jose. A very, very tricky game tonight. Obviously, we've got the best away record in the Premier League. We won 3-0 at the weekend. Jimbo, you predicted it. I thought you was completely bonkers, but you got the score absolutely spot on. If I had to give you a choice, win tonight and go to the next round of the Carabao Cup, or beat Chelsea on Saturday, and you can't choose both, you can choose one or the other. What are you picking? Because obviously he's going to probably make some changes tonight and open himself up to criticism. So I mean, what would you pick?
Why have I got to pick one? Why?
Because
why can't we win them both?
Because that's the game.
But it's a silly game.
Well, you've got to pick.
I think a win against Chelsea, because I think that's a bigger result for me. Is a win against Chelsea. But look, why can't we win them both? There's no reason why we can't. Chelsea are in a bit of a funny situation, aren't they, at the minute? So I mean, I don't want to go down their game yet, but they are. But I get really frustrated with YouTube, Kate. And it's been nice to take a break from it because some of the crap that comes out of people's mouths on YouTube is just it just kills me. You know, I think probably 70%, maybe 80% of the people that I've seen think we're going to go to Newcastle and get beat, and saying we're lucky if we're going to get anything out of the game. But they're not Real Madrid, prime Real Madrid or prime Barcelona. They're a good team. I'm not taking nothing away from them. But on our day, we're a good team as well. So why can't we? It's a 50-50 game for me, you know?
Yeah.
It is a 50-50. They could win it, we could win it. But, I mean, the way people are talking, it's like an 80-20 to Newcastle.
Yeah. I mean, Dermot, Thomas Frank has already come up with some criticism. I mean, I'm not going to go into that because it's baffling to me. But the chances are he's probably going to make some changes tonight. I've seen someone in the chat say that Van der Ven has got injured. I don't know if that's true. I've tried to find if it's true. I'm not sure. But obviously, Archie Gray, we found out it's injured. But you're probably going to see the likes of possibly Paulinho get a rest, Kudus get a rest. So, you know, you're going to see probably Brennan Johnson come in. Is he going to, people, if we lose and he makes changes, people are going to say that he's prioritising the Premier League over the Carabao Cup. Do you think it's just a case of we haven't got a big enough squad and we've got to just do what we've got to do? And
we've got injuries, haven't we? We've got 15 players out. We've got to try. I haven't got a big squad anyway, Kate. We really don't. We didn't do enough in the summer window, and I think it was quite critical of that window because we've got Kudos in, yes, we've got Siemens in, yes, we got Colo in, but we didn't do enough to cover all the squad as a whole. So look, he's damned if he do and damned if he doesn't tonight. But I'm sure to God, whoever he picks, he will make them players realise, I want to win this game. I want to go to Wembley. Win this, you're only 3 games from Wembley. So look, I think Paulinho probably will be rested tonight. I just hope it's not true about Mickey van der Ven because we really need him. Desperately need him. And then, look, if Brennan Johnson plays, I don't think he offered us a lot on Sunday. Yeah. And I think he does go quiet in big games. And Newcastle, he's gone very quiet. He's hid in a couple of games we've played up there. So, do you know what? I would play Odegaard and Kudus left and right and put Simmons in the middle. I think that would be the 3. And then you put Colo up front then. I think that would be my front 4. But you probably see Sarr come into the middle. You'll probably see Birdville come into the middle as well and put Bentacle in that 6 role. So I think that's what he'll do. He won't make massive changes. I think he'd just make the odd 1 or 2. Yeah. But look, whatever Thomas Frank does, he's damned if he does and damned if he doesn't. But for me, he's the right manager for us to take us forward. And long live Thomas Frank. Long live the king.
Exactly. I mean, Harry... I don't see him putting Mawani in. I think he'll rest him because I thought he was impressive against Everton. So I think he will probably put in a Ritchie or a Tell up front. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I to fully agree with that, Kate. I think a lot of us want to see Mawani start again, but realistically, he has first start last time out. He's not going to start really back-to-back games. For being totally honest with you, that could happen in time, hopefully, if he kicks on. But yeah, right now, I think. He'll opt to probably Tell. I like Richarlison, but I think, is Richarlison effective against a team like Newcastle, who are very aerial present? They're very physical side. They love the ball in the air. So, with Richarlison, you always go, whatever you think of him, a positive is, he calls you a problem. He'll win headers, you hope. And, it's all about that height. Well, I just don't think you really have that strength almost against Newcastle. Some would say play Tell and play more ball to feet. But at the same time, the caveat to that is, for me anyway, Tell's weakness, weakest part of his game is holding up the ball. And that, of course, is part of ball to feet. So, it's very difficult to look at it. And we've got a lot of options at our disposal. I think it's going to be difficult whoever plays that number 9 role. The only positive is for someone, let's say Richarlison does start and, it's going to be tough and be physical. The likes of Dan Burn, hopefully for Spurs' sake, should start left back with them having both fullbacks out in Livramento and Hall. So that suits the likes of Richarlison. It suits Tottenham in general. So I think it would be right to probably go with Tell, though I haven't been totally convinced at all. I think he might opt to Richarlison, though. It's more the case of I don't think Richarlison has an impact in this type of game. It's just not for him. It's just the way I view it anyway. Hopefully I'm wrong and whoever starts does well.
Yeah, I mean, I know Tell's come under a lot of criticism. Me personally, I prefer to see Tell up front and Richarlison. Jimbo, another guy that's come under an immense amount of criticism, and we spoke about him on the pump-ups, is Vicario. Although against Everton and Monaco, he was absolutely incredible. However, I've got a funny feeling Kinski might start tonight and get a game. Do you think he rests Vicario for the weekend and give Kinski a go?
Well, I just want to say that there is absolutely nothing on Sky Sports about Van der Ven.
No,
So,
I think someone was scaremongering us.
Yeah, I think it would be up there on Sky Sports News. And it's just come up that Angie's one of the favourites to take over at Celtic.
Oh,
Bring him
no.
home. Bring him home.
What was you saying about Vicario? Look, the last two games have been fantastic. I think people just people do jump on the bandwagon very quick about players, and there is things he needs to work on. But he's a top keeper, Kate. You know, I'm not saying he's the best keeper in the Premiership, but he's a very, very good keeper, and he saved our arse many, many times. And I've been noticing the last couple of games as well, he has been pushing the ball out to the side instead of out in front of him. So they've obviously spoke to him about that. Look, what do? We get rid of him and what? What do we do? Bring Kinski in and then bring another one in behind Kinski? What's the point? You know, he's with the squad now. They're all used to each other. He's kept us in many, many games. He done 9 saves the other day. You know, and people were saying we only got a draw because of Vicario. Maybe so, but it's his job. That's what his job is. You know, to stop the ball going in the net, and he did his job. So we end up getting a point because of him. So no, he's a great keeper. I'm really pleased with him.
But apparently he's not in the walk-in video. There's no Vicario. It's been Kinski and Austin. So it looks like Kinski will get a chance. Big up, Billy. I just took some time away from YouTube, but it's good to be back. Another player who seems to have gone out of favour is Papamate Sarr. I was reading it's been more than 6 weeks since he started in the Premier League. Considering the first 6 games, he was excellent. Pre-season, he was excellent. He came on in a cameo against Everton, was very good, scored a goal. Dermot, are you expecting to see Sarr in the lineup today?
I'd say so. I hope so. I am really surprised he hasn't been played more, but I understand he's probably sort of doing these minutes as well, making sure he doesn't overplay himself. And also, Sarr, I want Sarr in the starting lineup today because I think Sarr brings something to our midfield more than I think than Kudus does or Simmons in that 10 role. I think Papa Sarr is perfectly made for that. He's got a good engine. He's sort of that box-to-box midfielder that you want in a team that will do both things. You look at great sort of box-to-box midfielders over the years gone by. Papa Sarr, I think, is on course to become one of them. So, yeah, get him in, get him cooking. I mean, he does give you a good goal threat as well, but when it comes to work, he does that as well. So, for me, starting tonight, Kate, I think we've really missed him. We really have. I can understand Thomas Frank has to manage his minutes and making sure that everyone gets a game. But I think if a player's playing really well, I think you've got to really play him. Because taking him out, it could stump his growth like the season. But, yeah, he will start tonight.
I personally think it'll be Bentancur, Bergvall and Sarr tonight. Harry, what are your thoughts on the midfield? Does that sound about right? Or do you think anyone different?
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I think Newcastle have a powerhouse in midfield. And for me, I don't think it's critical, the midfield battle, in terms of we've been happy, haven't we, been complicit in sitting back and low blocks under Frank at times, absorbing pressure, I'd call it, and then countering. So many teams look at it and go, we've got to win this midfield battle. Maybe not so much against Newcastle, but if they play all three of what I call their powerhouses, I don't think they will, in Tonali, Guimaraes and Joelinton, then Tottenham do have a little bit of a problem. So it's difficult because Frank will be in that position, as is Eddie Howe, not knowing what his opposition manager is going to do. So we could go full strength for Newcastle, could put Ramsey in there or Miley, who are still great players, don't get me wrong, but makes it a tiny bit easier for Tottenham. So that makes it really hard to predict. So in terms of what Tottenham will do, I mean, look at Paulinho and Bentancur, and in an ideal world, they start together for the next few games. Newcastle, Chelsea, but realistically, can they keep doing that? In particular, Paulinho, there's a couple of times I see him and you're like just a split second off winning a tackle and you give away a foul. Having said that, the amount of successful tackles he's made this season, what a signing he's been. So the three is very difficult. For me, I'd personally like to see Bentancur, Paulinho And actually, Bergvall, as much as I really like Sarr, I think Bergvall's toughened up a little bit this year. And I look at Bergvall as someone to drop deep and maybe dictate the game a little bit. And if we are going to sit back and in a kind of low to mid block, which I think we will, then Bergvall for me is the player that can pick the ball up on the half term and get Tottenham out and countering. I love Sarr, absolutely. I think that's also a very good case to put in there. But I think he's had a lot going on, hasn't he? And found out different things for injury, and of course things going back on with the Senegalese national team. So I don't think any need to rush him if he's in a fit state to start. Of course, it'd be great to see him on the pitch. So of course, context is vital in that. I mean, we'd all look at it and go, "Hang on, what's happened to Sarr?" But I think you add a little bit of context. It's okay. This is what it is, and I think it come back hopefully into the team. So whatever we do is going to be tough. And one thing I will say, Kate, quickly is if Newcastle are clever, for me, they actually play Jacob Ramsey in midfield. Because I have this image in my head that Ramsey plays the left side of midfield and helps Gordon on that left-hand side. That'll give Porro, whoever starts right back, a real problem.
Well, the Newcastle team's out. They've got Ramsdale in goal. They've got Shah, Tonali, Barnes, Thior, Kraft, Langa's back, Voltemard, Willett, Byrne, and like you just said, Ramsey as well. On the bench, they've got Pope, Trippier, Botman, Joe Linton, Gordon, Osula, Murphy, Bruno Guimaraes, and Miley. Look, that's a tough team. I mean, I know, Jimbo, that you're one of these people who says you're never scared of any team and you're never worried, but they've got a very strong midfield. They've got very experienced players there. And this sort of, even the likes of Voltemard, who's only just signed there, he's scoring goals. This isn't going to be an easy game for Spurs. They're going to really need to be on the ball tonight.
Kate, it's not an easy game in the Premier League. So Newcastle, I know it's a cup game, but Newcastle are in the Premier League and they're a tough team. You can't have a game in the Premier League and think it's going to be easy. I know I give my mad predictions, right? But it's a tough league, and they're a tough team, and it's not going to be an easy game. But I won't have it that we're going to go up there and get rolled over. I just won't have it. We're a tough team as well. Where are we? Sitting third in the table. We haven't lost a cup game. We haven't lost a Champions League game. They should be looking at us and thinking, yeah, this is going to be a tough game. We're playing against Tottenham Hotspur, And I knew that he wouldn't put. He'd put some of his big guns on the bench. He was never going to stick out the complete first 11. In this game, like we won't. Either.
I mean, I think this is Alanga's first call. I think he's been injured. I think this is his first game back for a while. I'm not sure, but he worries me. Harvey Barnes always worries me. Is Botman on the bench? Did I say he was on the bench? Yeah, because he was iffy as to whether he'd be starting because he's had a knock apparently. So the Tottenham team still isn't out. I keep checking. Guimaraes is on the bench. Dermot, anyone there that worries you particularly?
I think the number 27 there, I think that's their new striker. He worries me. He's been doing very well. Barnes as well, Ramsey as well. I agree with Harry. I think he's going to be a real threat to us as well. I think the biggest one for me is Ramsdale in goal. I don't think he's that great, and I just feel if you put enough crosses in, he will make a mistake one way or the other. I think if you look at the two goalkeepers, probably between himself and Kingsley, I think Kingsley's the more reliable one out of the two. So I think if there is a weak link in that Newcastle side, I think it's their goalkeeper. So I think we need to test him early. And if he does get a little bit, not confident and he feels a couple of balls haven't gone his way, then I think that's something we should really look at. But set pieces, we're very dangerous set pieces anyway. So I think that's going to be very interesting too.
Yeah, I mean, Harry, where do you see that we can get at this team? As someone said in the chat, it isn't their strongest team, but it's still a very good team.
It is 100%. And Newcastle are in a position, because I was on a couple of Newcastle shows and they're like, look, we can make 7 or 8 changes. And they showed the team. And I'm like, do you know what? That's a really, really strong team. So, credit to their transfer window in the end, and what was long-winded, but they got there in the end and I think had a good window. But with this team, there's one thing that stands out to me. Dan Burn playing at left back, it looks like. I think Mohamed Kudus, if he's playing, we don't know, because Tottenham decided that it looks like to take the 7 p.m. time of announcing the team 15 minutes later. It's fine. They do get that option, I believe, in the Carabao Cup. But anyway, the point is that whoever starts now the Tottenham on the right is absolutely crucial. So for me, hopefully it is Kudus. The only thing is Burn is experienced. I think Burn's clever. He'll know in his head where he wants Kudus to be. And I often look at Burn and think, you know, I can beat you, or, you know, in the Spurs case, that hopefully this player can beat him. But at the same time, he's very clever. You watch it in particular for England, I've seen him more, but also for Newcastle. He's a very clever defender. He knows he's not the quickest, so he'll drop deeper. And that's why, for me, in my head, I see Ramsey as being key, because they can just leave Burn back, because Ramsey will kind of cover, because remember, he played left wing for a long time for Villa. So Newcastle have it sorted on the left-hand side. But if Kudus is clever and we play Porro on that side, then I think we can work, you know, nicely together and hopefully pin Burn in, pin Ramsey back, pin Gordon further back than he'd want to be. So yeah, I do see that side, although I think Newcastle have probably got it right with playing Ramsey. I think Burn in particular, because he's left back, I mean, that is a real area to aim at, because Newcastle, watching their games, they're so much deeper with Burn playing left back, because I think they know he hasn't got the pace. They drop like 10, 15 yards. That's something to keep your eyes on as well.
Yeah. Obviously, Dermot, we've had the unfortunate injury to Christian Romero, which I don't know if he's going to be back for Chelsea. They're still sort of saying timescale unknown. How impressed have you been with Kevin Danso coming into the team?
I've been really impressed with him. He's really sparked up a great relationship with Mickey van der Ven, and I think he's solid. I think he's a great defender. You look out of the two of them, out of him and Dragerson, I think Danso looks really comfortable. He's just slotted in, and looks like we're not missing Romero, to be fair. And I think it's good to have him. It's good to have him there. I think he's done really well, and I'm really impressed, you know, with him. And I think he's proven why we bought him in the first place. And I'm glad we did, because if you look at Dragerson, he would have made probably a few mistakes by now. And I'm not really been impressed with Dragerson, but Danso for me.
Yeah,
he's done extremely well, and do you know what? Doesn't, as I said, it doesn't look like we've missed Romero, which is a good thing. That's a compliment in one way of looking at it.
100%, 100%. The Tottenham team is out, and as expected, Kinski starts in goal. We've got Kevin Danso playing, Palhinha, Xavi. Wow, Xavi Simons is playing. Richarlison up front. Bergvall, Johnson, Pedro Porro, Spence, Sarr, and Bentancur. Looking there is no Van der Ven. He is on the bench, though. I've just noticed on the bench. We've got Austin on the bench. We've got Gunter on the bench, Tell, Kudus, Van der Ven, Kolo Muani, Scala, Uluesi, and Rosewell on the bench. Jimbo, Paulinho starting. Thought he might get a rest. Bentancur obviously starting alongside him. Xavi starting. Apart from Kudus, this is a strong team that Thomas Frank's put out.
Yeah. It's a surprising team for me, but look, it's a bit scary how better their bench is better than ours. Their bench is excellent compared to ours. But look, they're all professional footballers. You know, this is the time for some players to stand up and be counted. You know, it's a big game to get past Newcastle at Newcastle. So let's see how we do. You know, I don't like our bench too much, I'll be honest.
I mean, someone's saying that he's playing Palhinha as a centre-back. Could it not just be that he's playing three at the back? I mean, Harry, how do you see that lining up? Because you've got Porro and Spence and then Danso. Do you see him putting Palhinha as a centre-back or playing three at the back?
No, I see Paulinho playing as a centre-back next to Danso, because he stepped in there before. Maybe if we hadn't seen him do that in Europe, I think it was later in the game, we had injury problems, we made changes, he stepped in as centre-back. If we hadn't seen that, I wouldn't have been as certain. But I think this is an interesting game to change the formation. I don't think he'll do that. But I agree with Jimbo. There's a big surprise in there, and it is strong for Tottenham. But it's interesting. I would have gone, you know, of course, Van der Ven, you want to rest him, but, you know, he's paced the back, and you look at Voltemada, and who's a difficult player, not just through pace, but a load of other attributes. And you just feel a lot more comfortable, don't you, when Van der Ven's back, knowing that Newcastle wingers they've got. But it's okay. You know, I think it's still a strong team, but surprising would be the word to describe that. Not too keen on Paulinho not being in that midfield and being in defence instead. And I do worry how that midfield will get on. But I appreciate, you know, the level of trust from Frank. So, yeah, we don't 100% know, of course, what formation it'll be, but I don't see a drastic change in formation. But it'd be interesting, though, to see how it pans out, Kate, and how high that defence is and just different things like that. So we'll have to see.
Is Kudus on the bench?
Yes,
yeah,
he is on the bench. Pedro Porro captaining the side. Obviously, we're looking at probably Bergvall, Johnson, and Xavi, and then Richarlison with the creativity. Dermot, I mean, we've been criticised a lot for not being particularly creative so far this season, even though we've scored a fair amount of goals. How do you feel about the lineup and the creativity side of it?
I have to agree. It's surprising. I think the forward line looks very weak, apart from Xavi. I don't think Johnson offers you anything. We're going to really miss Kudos down that right side. We really are. Xavi really needs to have a good game tonight. He needs to really step up and take hold of that forward line and really make it tick. We really need a big game from him. Richarlison, doesn't really. He works hard. I give Richarlison, he works hard, but he doesn't offer you really a lot. I'm just really worried that's a really surprising lineup, and I'm a bit worried about the front line as well. Not performing tonight. Xavi's really got to perform well tonight, but yeah, worried is the word I would use.
Yeah, I mean, Jimbo, you're quite you've been heavily critical of Richarlison, but you've also stuck up for him at times. But I mean, how would you feel more comfortable having Richarlison up front or Tell personally?
Well, look, how many times have we sat here and I've watched people in the chat and people on the panel say, "Oh my God, this team looks weak, and who's going to step up?" And they step up. Time and time again they've done it, and including Johnson. So look, we all know they can play football. So let's hope they all step up tonight. And Richarlison, he's one player, right, in our squad that absolutely sends my head in a spin. Because I know the guy can play football, and I know he knows how to put the ball in the back of the net, right? But so many times he goes missing. But the other day, I thought he was terrible when he come on, and then all of a sudden he sets up Sarr for a goal, and it was class the way he done it. He didn't panic. He done a nice little header into him. But he sends me in a bit of a spin because I know the guy can play football. I mean, he's Brazil's number 9, but for me, he doesn't step up enough. He really doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, I personally would have rather seen Tell up front, but Harry, with regards to Xavi, I always think I watch Xavi, and I've seen obviously, I'm sure everyone's watched his highlight reels, and you look at him and you go, "Wow, this guy's tricky." For me, he never actually looks happy on the pitch. I don't know if it's just that he's finding his feet, he may be a bit nervous, or maybe a bit short of confidence. I mean, what are you making of this guy? Obviously, it's early days. I'm not writing him off by any means.
Yeah. No, I get your point. I'd be concerned, though, if he was happy at this stage, because I think he'll know that he can produce a lot better than what he is at the moment. And I just would say that it's 9 league games that we've had of the season. I think the conversation about how he's getting on should be had as we approach, halfway through at least, let's say, the season at a minimum, should be having these conversations, because we need to give time for players to settle in. And I link it back to Florian Wirtz of Liverpool, exactly same situation. And I'm not one of those fans that think, oh, it's a Germany thing or it's a Bundesliga thing, because Nick Waldemard's hit the ground running, Hugo Ekitiké's hit the ground running. It's not about German players, but it does seem to be German players in the 10, or players coming, from the Bundesliga in the 10 position. It just seems different. I think, honestly, it's just the pace of the Premier League is something completely different, and it takes time to adjust. So I don't think we should make that split decision. But there is, of course, a conversation that could be there in the future about, will he ever be right for the Premier League? But I don't think that's for now. I think we should park that and back him and see how he does. But a lot of people as well would make the point, and I think that it's reasonable, that do you start on the left-hand side, for now, which I'll say it's easier than the 10, but it might suit him a little bit more. You grow in confidence, then you play him in that 10 role where you can flourish and you kind of thrive a little bit more. And I think, for me, I think Simmons is just overthinking maybe a little bit at the moment. You see a couple of times already in his first career, he's had the ball, players in front of him. He's just thought too much, in my opinion, about the pass and then got it wrong. So I think trust your instincts. He's a great player. We've all seen, as we said, highlight reels. We all saw a goal against England for Netherlands, for example. We know what he's capable of. So I think just patience, and I think he needs to back himself. But of course, we want to see players smiling. You want 100 Sonnies on the pitch, ideally. But at the same time, it's about winning. And if players aren't performing, they're not going to be happy. You see his reactions being taken off. That's if there's anything other than that, you'd be deeply concerned. So that's that for me. Determination to want to improve. So I think we get behind him, and hopefully we have a really good player here, Kate.
Yeah, let's hope so. Dermot, a few people in the chat are saying he's sacrificing the Carabao Cup for the Chelsea game already. This is what we said would happen. He's damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. He hasn't really made that many changes. I mean, Colin Mawani's only just come back from a dead leg. So I think you've got to be careful with him. But if we lose this game, that's what people are going to say, let's be fair.
Yeah, it is, but the squad isn't big enough. People need to realise that. We've got 15 players out. What's he supposed to do? We've got Chelsea at the weekend. So we've got to rest Mickey van der Ven. We've got to rest Kudos. As much as we all want them in the team tonight, we've got to rest Vicario as well. So these players do deserve rest. I do agree with Harry about Xavi, by the way, and I think he put it very brilliantly. But I think with Xavi, tonight might be the game he might show his class tonight. Tonight might show him come to the fore. And I think if he does, I think this Tottenham side can beat Newcastle. We've got to get behind Frank. Frank's going to have his reasons why he's picked this team. He has the numbers. He has the data there. He knows where players' levels are. So I understand with fans saying, he's picking the league over the cups. We've had that for the last 2 years. So, of course, it's going to be a default thought for us all. I don't think he is. I think he's picked the side tonight who he thinks can beat Newcastle. And we may not be happy with the players that he's picked, but I think these 11 are capable of putting on the performance tonight and winning. And, I think he's also, with a small squad, what he's supposed to do. You're damned if you do and damned if you don't. If he loses tonight, he's going to get criticised by fans that don't want him there. I think he's doing the right thing. I think he has to think ahead. But these players that have pulled on the shirt tonight have to go out, have to put it on the line, have to perform. They're given a chance. Take your chance tonight.
Yeah, I mean, Jimbo, as you said at the start of the stream, that we're playing Newcastle, who, I'm not taking anything away from Newcastle. They're a very good team. They have rotated tonight, though. They're not prime Barcelona. Man for man, when you look at the team, I mean, I would say their midfield and maybe their attacking threat with their striker. They've obviously got a better striker than we have, but they're beatable, right?
Well, you say they've got a better striker than we have. It depends if ours turn up.
True.
If Richie and Johnson turn up, I don't agree with that. But they've got to turn up, and Richie don't turn up enough for me. But maybe he will tonight. Let's wait and see. But look, people have got to understand. We've got a squad, right? We haven't got an 11-man team. We've got a squad, and he needs to rotate, and he needs to give players. He needs to give players game time. And Kinski in goal. I think it was Daniel 90 saying we shouldn't be resting the goalkeeper. But Kinski's a player for Tottenham Hotspur, and he needs to get games. What happens if Vicario gets injured? What do we do? Just throw him in?
Exactly. Not only that, but you've got to try and keep your players happy at the end of the day. You can't, you can't just bring in players and not play them. But there's, I can't remember what I was going to say. It's completely gone. Jim's phone has thrown me completely. I know what I was going to say. Harry, I think it was Dermot mentioned earlier that we're kind of becoming a bit of set piece kings, which is funny because it was something that Ange Postecoglou didn't put any weight on. He said he didn't worry about set pieces. He didn't want a set piece coach. And yet I think we've scored the second most set pieces behind that lot up the road. That leads me to come to the conclusion that the goals tonight are not going to come from particularly maybe the front players. We saw Van der Ven get a couple at the weekend. Do you see that being where we break through from the likes of a good corner or a set piece, or are you expecting goals from open play?
I think usually we've got set pieces, as you say, but in this game, like I said, Newcastle are a physical side, even though they haven't got Jolinton in there, haven't got Guimaraes, Burn will be at left back. They still not physical as usual, but Newcastle an aggressive side. You know, make no mistake about it, they get yellow cards, they get stuck in, and they're all about winning the second ball. That's where Eddie Howe thrived throughout his career. But with set pieces, I mean, there's two sides to it. We neglected them completely under Ange. I liked as a manager and as a guy, but literally neglected set pieces. I never forget when he says set pieces don't win you games and they don't lose you games. If I thought it was a problem, mate, then I'd get a set piece coach. So he just completely went about it the wrong way. And we literally, I remember, sat there in games that we lost because of set pieces. Good ones, Arsenal at home at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I hate to bring it up. We lost 2-0, 2 goals from set piece. I know they're great at set pieces, but that was single-handedly lost technically and factually on set pieces. So it's good to see us taking them seriously, but where the concern is you don't want to become reliant on them, because I think deep down, if you take set pieces out of the equation and you take Mohamed Kudus out of the equation, that's why tonight will be interesting, then Tottenham struggle to score goals. Having said that, Frank come in with a number one aim, very clear, to clean up the defence, and that means concede less goals and keep clean sheets. He's done that. He's done the hard bit for me already in 9 Premier League games, a few more across all competitions. That is really impressive. Now, the easier bit for me is getting a tune out of attackers. Jimbo says it there. Players like Richarlison, Odegaard, can he get them to perform consistently, or do we need to dip into that January market? I don't think he's been helped by the club, by the way, the fact that we didn't replace Heung-min Son. I think that's absolutely crazy. It was at the time, and even more so looking back now. But it's all about improving the attack. We can't become too reliant on set pieces. As good as they are, what happens if they don't work? What happens if Mohamed Kudus gets injured? What happens if he's not starting like tonight? That's the thing. We don't want to be too one-dimensional. But so far, Frank's done a great job. Get behind him. But still, of course, a lot of work to do.
Yeah, I agree. Jimbo, like I say, set pieces have become a massive part of the way we play, really, at the moment. But Kudus has been putting in some great corners. Porro's been putting in some good corners. But now, obviously, Kudus isn't playing. Like I said, the same sort of question that I gave to Harry. Do you see that we can actually score from open play, or do you see us undoing Newcastle with, say, a free kick or a corner or sort of a set piece?
Both, Kay. We can score from open play and we can score from free kicks and corners. I'm sure they're not working on just Kudus and Porro. I'm sure they're working on other players as well with the free kicks and the corners. Of course, we can score from open play. We've got players out there that can score from open play. But, I think sometimes in football, people focus too much on things. And because the throw-ins and the corners, right, have been bringing up a lot of goals in the Premier League, right, this last season, that people are really focusing on them. But I've been watching football I'm 63. I've been watching football since I could walk. I watch Match of the Day in black and white. Right, people scored from throw-ins, people scored from corners, people scored from free kicks. It's happened all through football. It's because it's happening a bit more now, because the game's moved on a little bit and you've got more technical people involved in it. It's happening a bit more. They're focusing a lot more on it. But football's it's about goalkeeper, defenders, midfield, strikers. It's about the whole lot. You can't win a game just by the forward line. It's the whole team that have got to be in sync. And I think that what Harry said is 100% right. What Frank's done since he's come in is a small miracle. How he's improved us so much. And we're just at the beginning of this journey. There's a long way to go yet. We're going to bring in better players as well. Some of the dross will be weeded out. And we'll move on.
Apparently Cute is hopefully going to be back for Saturday, which is great. Bobby K asking Jim if they had tea. I know it was a shock to me as well. Dermot, I was going to say something to you, and again, my brain has gone completely. Let me look at the team. Who was I going to talk about? I was going to talk about someone I was going to talk about Thomas Frank, actually. That's who I was going to talk about. Obviously, he was asked at his press conference about winning trophies, and he said, obviously, a team like Tottenham, you want to win trophies. However, with it being a London derby at the weekend, and also with it being Chelsea, a team that, we don't do great against historically, even though we're at home, and the fact that our home record's not great. Do you think if you offered him a chance to win one or the other, he would pick the Chelsea match? Or do you think he's going to go all out for all competitions and just see what he can do?
I think he's going to go out for all competitions. I don't think you look back to last year under Ange, it was like, I'm picking this competition, the hell with the consequences. But Thomas Frank is, I'm coming here to win stuff. I've been given an opportunity at a big club. I've earned my right. I'm going to take it by the balls, by the horns,
The
and
bull
I'm
by
going
the
to.
horns, yeah.
Yes, thank you, Kat. I couldn't get the word out of my mouth. Thank you for that. And I'm going to go for it. And I think that's the right attitude to have. I mean, you start picking games over other games, you're going to quickly unravel, and you're going to get called out very quickly for it. And I think he's seen tonight, win tonight, and then I think about Chelsea tomorrow. And that's
Yeah.
the right way that's the right way he should be. And Thomas Frank is very good at that. He just looks at each game as it comes. Because you could quite easily get caught up. Oh, we've got Chelsea the weekend. Or what am I going to do? We don't do well against Chelsea. Oh, I need to rest this player, that player, and this player. No, this is a chance to get to Wembley. If we win tonight, we're 3 games away from Wembley. We're 3 games away from winning a trophy to back up the Europa League we won last year. We all want that. We all want that trip to Wembley. Tottenham over the years, I grew up with Spurs at Wembley. In the 80s, we're at Wembley, I think, what was it, 81, 82, 83, no, 81, twice in 82, 87, and then 91. Tottenham were at Wembley. It was our second home nearly.
Yeah.
And we need to get back to doing that. So I think he's taken every cup seriously. And I think even the Champions League, we've got no way a chance of winning that. But he's taking it seriously because it's a chance of a trophy. You've got to do that. And Thomas Frank is doing that. And I think it's the right thing to do. Take it one game at a time, but be serious about this.
At the end of the day, Kay, let's be honest, right? He can't win, Frank, because if he'd have played his best 11, people would be moaning, saying, why is he playing why is he putting Kudus in? Why is he putting Van der Ven in? Yeah. We got Chelsea. So he's in a no-win situation. I mean, I can see Joe 90, whatever his name, Daniel 90, going on about the keeper. Daniel, he's got to give Kinski a chance at some time. Right? What would you rather see him, tonight or against Chelsea? He can't just not give him games. He's there, to be played. And he has to rotate them. So I think this is the perfect game to put Kinski in.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Harry, I think last time when you were on the pump up, you went through not a rant, but you sort of said Tottenham fans need to get off of players' backs because, they're young, they've got to develop their trade. Do you think that this complete lack of patience, obviously with younger players like Tel, like Xavi, also goes along with the manager? Because there's people already saying that they're not sure Thomas Frank's the guy and that he's not at Brentford anymore and, questioning him. Do you think this is fans wanting instant overnight success? I mean, what's your thoughts on Frank?
I think the fans are trying to create a problem where there isn't. It's as simple as that. And, I'm going to be completely black and white here. And sorry if I'm too blunt, but, it's a massive problem if you've got, and you're always going to get it at a football club, but, constant pressure on players. And we live in a society that, for me, you can literally, and I said this the other day, and people are like, really? You can literally message a player via Instagram. Whether they see it or not is a complete other thing. But we tell you what, I use our opponent, Newcastle, as an example, right? There's something that happened with Joe Willock. And something he was accused of via social media, and something he was messaged. And Eddie Howe, the Newcastle manager, didn't know if it's true or not. So he had to, this is what he said in his press conference. He said, I had to go to Joe Willock and say to him, A, is it true? And B, are you okay? And he said, I'm finding out things online rather than going through you. The point is that people, are going way too far and they're not doing it in person. It's all done online. So we need to be patient with players. There's never an excuse to take it to the next level. And with Frank, I don't get where this disrespect comes from. Not being funny, taking it away from that. 3rd position in the table, unbeaten in the Champions League and still in the Carabao Cup. I mean, you really struggle to find any manager that start better. Pochettino, whoever it may be, I don't think many start much better than that. And people go, yeah, but Ange started really well at the start. But yeah, but it fell off like a cliff. I don't know what. So, you need to be patient. I don't know why this entitlement comes from him. I've mentioned it before and it didn't go down well, so I'm going to try lightly again. There seems to be, that's me, I'm afraid. There seems to be a level of entitlement within the fan base. That's only going to grow with winning a trophy, unfortunately. I don't get where this comes from. We won that trophy, great, in Bilbao, but that's the first in 17 years, our first European trophy in 41 years. You've got people that go, yeah, we should be doing that every year. Frank doesn't win a trophy, then out. Where does that come from? I don't understand it. I don't know why people think that Frank should be judged like that. Because we all know on this panel that if we'd lost that game against Everton, there would have been uncomfortable conversations already. Why is that right? Where does that come from? You know, I'm a young supporter, right? It was the first trophy of my lifetime. So I'm lucky in terms of, you know, maybe I haven't seen trophies in the past and you'd be thinking, how's that lucky? Well, you know, I consider myself not entitled in that case because I'm very grateful for that first European trophy. But, you know, I don't hate this. It's not just Spurs, it's other clubs as well. They just jump on this bandwagon of also, let's kick on to the next level. Let's be winning all these trophies. Frank shouldn't be compared to Ange. He needs to stop the comparison. He's a different guy. He's a different manager with different ideas, a completely different aim to compete on all four fronts. Ange's sole aim, you know, whether it was through the board or he decided eventually, was just to win the Europa League. Frank's got to juggle everything. So ditch the comparison between Ange and Frank, because there's this narrative created, Kate, lastly, in the Spurs fan base. You've got to either like Frank or Ange. You can't have both. Like someone like me that respect Ange, thank you for what you've done, but I want to move on and appreciate Frank and back Frank. That doesn't seem to be possible. He seems to be
that's where I am, Aaron.
I'm with you. Why can't we do both? So we need to stop being nasty, stop the pressure, and just back the team and the players and the manager too. It's so frustrating.
Do you know what? Just to get on Harry's point there. Sorry, Jim. I don't mean. I just got on Harry's point. I've been watching Tottenham since the 80s, so I've seen this win trophies like in the early 80s. Seen this. I was 7 when we won our first, you know, the UEFA Cup back in '84. Went through the 90s of watching dire football. I've seen a lot worse, and I just don't know where some of our fan base really are coming from, because you look at it, we don't deserve to win every year. We're not entitled to win every year. Every year is different. Last season's different from this season's different from last season. Frank's different from Ange. Let's get behind the manager. Let's get behind the players. Good times or bad times. Being a Tottenham fan is sticking it through good times and bad times. And we're not always going to have good times.
Yeah.
We're not always going to have bad times. But I just get really frustrated with our fan base sometimes when we've played well or we've got a good result away from home by playing a little bit ugly, by playing a little bit different to how we want to play. We all want the Tottenham way, but you can't play the Tottenham way now. You've got to play a little bit ugly. You've got to play a little bit different. And fans are criticising Frank. Come on, let's get behind the manager at least.
What people have got to understand, right, is there's 4 trophies to win, right? You can win a European trophy. Look at the teams that are in Europe that you've got to beat. You know, game in, game out, game. It's so hard, right? And that's why I put when we won that trophy last season, it kind of really, really built me up, because to win a European trophy nowadays it's such a big feat to do. And people can say, well, we had an easy run. So what? We were lucky and got an easy run, and we ended up winning it. To win the Carabao Cup, to win the FA Cup or win the Premier League is so hard when you look at the teams that we're up against. You know, not just us, but the other teams as well. It's such a hard league to win one of these cups. There's so many good teams, you know, and you could get a lower team, like what we consider lower than us, Everton, Palace, Bournemouth, right, who are actually higher than us at the minute. They're so hard to beat. If you get them in a cup game, there's no foregone conclusion that you're going to beat them. It's difficult to win a trophy. So difficult.
But also, if you have this way, this idea in your head that you can only win a certain way, that just limits everything. It limits the players you can bring in, the managers you have. And I love playing pretty football, but where does this come from? Maybe I'm completely out of touch here, but I'm someone who's completely results-based and just easy on the eye. But at the same time, to be 17th place, that's laughable at times. Great season in the end, probably because we won the Europa League. But yeah, we were humiliated at times. It was embarrassing because you knew you were going to lose. You had 1-2-0 down and we collapsed like a sack of potatoes. Frank's come in and been sensible. He's a coach. He's going to improve players over time. You talk about these players, Tel Odebert, hopefully improves them all. He's come in and fixed our defence. That seemed unfixable last year. To keep clean sheets, the majority of our games this season, this is crazy, by the way, we kept clean sheets. Last year, we didn't know what a clean sheet was. I wouldn't be able to spell it last season. That's the difference. He's come in and done that. And people genuinely questioning whether he's like, because we lost that Everton game, I promise you. We'd be going into this game going, oh, this could be a tough week for Frank. He could find himself out of the job. And people would be, surely it wasn't that close away, but really going into the Everton game, the genuine people, big accounts, spreading, as they usually do, rubbish, you know, saying, is Frank the right man? Where's this come from? Get behind the team. There's no need to jump to conclusions. 2 full seasons for me. You give Frank and then you come back to this conversation.
And just one more thing on that as well. Ange is the 3rd man in our history to win a European trophy. The 2 other men to do that is Bill Nicholson and Birkinshaw. Berkenshaw, if people don't remember, I was born the year we got relegated, but we went down in 77. What did he do 4 years later? He won back-to-back FA Cups, got us to a League Cup final, which we should have beaten Liverpool, but we conceded a goal in the late of injury time and they beat 3-1. Won a UEFA Cup. Terry Venables came in, played some good football, won us an FA Cup. One day Ramos came in and won us a trophy. George Graham won us a trophy. So we've had managers that fans have not got behind, but they've won us trophies. We need to get behind Thomas Frank because he will bring us success. But we can't have, we all want Tottenham way, but football today is not being played the Tottenham way. It's ugly. I always call it, I don't know if Jim would agree and you would agree, Kate, but I call it 1980s football, but with a twist.
Yeah.
And I think we've gone back to playing how we used to play back in the day. But do you think, somebody put it in the comment, do you think Arsenal care about winning ugly?
Exactly.
They're top of the they care.
Under Poch, what did we win?
Exactly.
That football under Poch was sublime. And what did we win?
That's my argument. I get criticised for that, Jim. When I call them, we didn't win anything under Poch. I get literally criticised for that.
But I have to admit, some of the games we won under Poch absolutely give me an hard on. When we beat Liverpool, oh my God!
Please control yourself.
Oh, sorry, it was sublime when we beat Liverpool.
Rains just said exactly what I was going to say. Near enough. Maybe we get better results away from home because the away support gives more back into the team. I mean, the last couple of games we've watched where we've played at home, Jim, the atmosphere has sounded terrible on the television, and I don't know. I mean, I don't know whether it's because the home fans. I don't know what the reason is. I mean, I've never known it to be like that.
Well, I was listening to Johnny the other day, and he said that they've split up. When we moved to this new stadium, a lot of the groups that sung a lot were together. They've kind of been split up now. So he said that's kind of made a difference. But look, sometimes at home, though, the place is rocking, absolutely rocking. And other times, like the last game we played at home, who was it against? Was it Everton? Villa? It was Villa, I think. It was like I said to you, didn't I? The atmosphere seems dead there. But away, all you hear away is the Tottenham fans. But I mean, I'm sure it'll get better. The more we win, and the better we get. I'm sure it'll get louder.
Yeah. Let's hope so. Look, I just find it baffling anyone would criticise Thomas Frank with what he's done compared to where we were last season. I do wonder whether at the online fan base, a lot of them think that they're Sky Sports pundits rather than supporters of the club. So they look too far into it. If you look far enough into anything, you can always find something to criticise. Whereas I just personally like to just enjoy what I see.
I all the time, Kate. The people sometimes look too much into stuff, and instead of just enjoying the wins, and sometimes you win ugly, still enjoy it. It's a win, Sometimes you have to win ugly, and that's as simple as like we beat Monaco. I was over the moon, and I saw people criticising.
Drew to Monaco, you mean?
Drew to Monaco, yeah. People were criticising. I was over the moon. We played absolutely crap, right? But we still managed to get a draw out of it, And that to me, that's the basis of a team that's going places.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why when Arsenal sneak out these 1-0s, people say this is what champions do, because when you don't play your best and you still get results, that's what's important at the end of the day. It's the points at the end of it, of the end of the game. But that's enough waffling from me. It is time to get score predictions. So please do put in the chat what you fancy for the game tonight and goal scorers. I'm going to give mine early. I'm going to go early, and I'm going to say a 2-2 draw. Tottenham to win on penalties. That is what I'm going for. And I'm going to have, because I assume it goes straight to pens. I don't think
it does.
I'm going to have my goal scorers. I'm going to just look. I'm going to have Paulinia and Danso. I'm going to go completely out there. I'm going to go 2-2 to and Tottenham to win on penalties. And that's me. We've got Jay Murray saying, my prediction, 1 bottle of Coke, giant bag of cheese balls consumed by me, and 6-1 Spurs. That sounds like my perfect night, I've got to be honest. 2-1 Spurs says Knocky Sound. Mason saying 2-1 Newcastle. Boo. That's all about the fans. 2-0 Spurs. Love to take a clean sheet. I mean, you know what? our away form is very, very good. Why not? There's 5,000 away fans up in the gods, and they will make more noise than 63,000 at the stadium. I completely agree with this. 3-2 Spurs says you. 2-1 Spurs. 4-0 Spurs. Expect the unexpected. Never a truer word, Colin. Harry, I'll come to you first. What do you fancy for the score tonight, and who's going to score our goals?
I share your belief that the game will go to penalties. I've had that feeling. So I'm going to go with 1-1 in normal time after 90 minutes. And I think Tottenham win the shootout. It's just a question of how much. I'm going to say Tottenham win it 5-4. Just hope that we take penalties better than like that Fulham game the other night from both teams. That's absolutely horrific. So hopefully we can score some better penalties. But in terms of who scores the goals in the 90 minutes in the 1v1, I think Newcastle take the lead personally through Voltemade. I think it's inevitable, maybe because of the form he's in more than anything. But for Spurs, it's difficult to say who to score. I think Sarr, I fancy a little Sarr redemption and make his real stake to be back into the team. So hopefully he does do that. Whoever scores is, of course, fantastic. But yeah, too much negativity going around. Back the team. I'm with Jimbo on this. I'm sure not as bold with his prediction. I can't wait to hear his. But probably Spurs.
Exactly that. And do you know what? I would have. Sarr was on my list, but because Paulinia's playing, I switched to Paulinia. So, Dermatron, what do you fancy for the game tonight, and who's going to score the goals?
I'm going for a 3-0 Spurs win. I think we're going to go up there and really win. I'm sod this penalty, Larks. You two are so negative. Penalty. Come on. We're here with pumping up people. We need to pump these people up. Yeah, 3-0. And I'm going to go for Xavi, Bergville, and Richarlison for my goals.
Oh, I'd love to see Xavi score tonight. Another one agreeing with Harry saying 1-1 on Spurs on pens. Richie with a jammy goal. Who cares if it's jammy? 4-0 Xavi hat-trick and a Bergville worldie. 2-0 Xavi brace. Lovely. Big up to you all the way from Los Angeles. Nice to see you. Nice. Jimbo. So pessimistic, Dermot. I'm going 4-0 to Spurs. Jimbo, what do you fancy for tonight's game? I dread to think.
No, I think it's going to be 3-1. I think we're going to win 3-1. I think that I think they will score tonight, but I think we'll score more. So why are you laughing, Harry?
It's like Ange, you score, we score more. That's all. I just remind me of Ange.
Jimbo, I've just got to do this for Dermot. Round of applause, because he's actually been more optimistic than you, and I don't think that's ever happened on the stream. So well done, Dermot.
I think they will get a goal. I think they will get a goal. But I'm going to have Richie to score and Johnson to score. And I'm hoping Sarr scores again. That's what I'm hoping for. So put a smile on his face because he's been a bit down the last few weeks because of his friend. So
right. Well, we've all gone for wins, but some of us have gone the longer way around it. But a win's a win, no matter how they come. Harry, what's going on over at your channel? Where can people find you?
Firstly, thanks so much for having me. I always enjoy coming on. It's been a great discussion. And I just need to get some of that off my chest. So apologies.
Good for you.
So get it out there. But no, thank you. Honestly, it's a pleasure. You can follow me at HarryScar32 across all socials. I'm a football content creator, YouTuber, and football writer. I don't write enough. I'm going to need to write more football articles, but I will be doing that hopefully this week. I'm on half term and been great to be on more podcasts this week. But I also do have my YouTube channel, links there. Harry Scarf. I do, it started off Tottenham content. It's still mainly Tottenham content, but now I've dipped into the Spurs women's team, England women, FPL, just general Premier League news as well. So it's gone a lot further. But thanks so much for having me. I've just dropped a comment in the chat as well. Thank you the chat. It's been excellent tonight. Great questions, input, people listening from all around the world. So thank you very much. And it's been a pleasure to be on with all of you.
Harry, always a pleasure. Thank you very much for your time as always. Dermatron, thank you as always for coming on. Where can people find you?
Yeah, look, firstly, thank you for having me on as well. It's always a pleasure and an honor to come onto this great channel. Harry, it's been great. I did reach out to your DM to you, so get back to me. We'll sort something out.
Check out. Thank you so much. Great to be on with you.
Yeah, if you like what I have to say, come over. We've got the watch along. We've got pre-match, post-match, and we've got a lot of things coming up. Tomorrow is a podcast I do with Dave Harris, Irish Lads Talk Spurs. So do join us for that at 1. It's a bit of fun, a bit where me and Dave can sort of spread our wings a little bit and talk everything from Ireland to Celtic to Tottenham as well. So it's a bit of fun tomorrow. So do join us for that. And yeah, please go over to Harry and do go over to Kate and Jim's channel as well. They really are the Becks and what's her name? What's David Beckham's wife's
Posh
name?
and Becks.
Posh and Becks of the YouTube channel. There you go.
Yeah, I wish I looked like Beck. I know that.
So do
There
I.
is a resemblance there, Jim, to be fair now. I did think of that when I saw you. Like, I thought the bit of David Beckham about it.
He's a
But yeah,
handsome
do
man.
like
I
and
must-
subscribe
must
everywhere.
say.
And to the greatest Tottenham channel in the world, We Are Spurs TV as well.
Yes. Obviously, you can sub to me and Jimbo. We're not doing much at the minute. We've taken a bit of a break, but we will be doing the pump-up shows no matter what, because do love our pump-up shows when we have these great panels on talking about Spurs and getting everyone ready for the matches. But please stay where you are. You've got Ben, you've got Sim, you've got Brian Daigle, you've got the three of them, the three stooges, doing the watch along for you in around about 10 minutes time. So do stay where you are. Enjoy the match, guys. Thanks again, Harry. Thanks again, Dermot. Thanks again, Jimbo, although you're just always next to me. So I don't really, need to thank you. Listen, get behind the team. These good times don't come that often. Let's just lap it up, enjoy it. Try not to be overcritical. Patience is a virtue, as they say. That's what I was always taught. And, win, lose, draw, we're Tottenham till we die. And the saying that I always remember is win or lose, have a booze. So, look, let's hope we're in that draw at the end of the evening.
He's too young.
Yeah, I can't.
Yeah, you can't have a booze.
No.
Yeah, let's
I love
hope we're in the draw at the end of the evening. And yeah, thanks for watching. Please like the stream. And as always, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.